Dear Dave, so a couple days ago I was looking at this app which tells me what I did a year ago on social media, and the video that I made to you about Heights Point and adopting Otto came up, and I was like, oh right, I used to send you video letters until I just didn't. But the cat in question is actually standing right behind the camera, looking out the window. He's in a bad mood because the second I came home I didn't sit down and hold him, which is wow, he really wants to live his life. But anyway, what I was thinking about recently was I don't think I've ever talked to you about my backup career list, which is absurd because I feel like that's all I talk about here. Like, it's something that came up with the first year of grad school, so maybe it's something that you have been tempted to do. But my first year of grad school, I spent a lot of brain power and a lot of time thinking of, well, what would I do if I just stormed out of the physics building one day and never came back? And so I created a list because I had so many options and so many careers that'd be like really fun and not physics. If you hear the game in the background, I'm watching the Cubs game while making this video. Yes, the Cubs are playing. It's an extra inning, so I'm kind of keeping an eye on the game. But back to my story. So I thought I'd list off my backup career options. And the point of the backup career list for me, my whole mentality, is not necessarily a job that I'm gonna do if I leave physics. It's just something to think about. Like, wouldn't it be really cool if my life had turned out this way? So let's begin. Gotta fix my hair. Oh, it looks awful. I swear I style it. I even comb it. I promise. It doesn't look like it. Okay. And these are in no particular order, just random order. So not like my favorite to least favorite. Number 1, a librarian. Number 2, small bookstore owner, because I like to be in debt. Number 3, art restoration specialist. Doesn't that sound fun? Number 4, museum curator. That would be a blast. Oh, what comes next? Number 5, zookeeper. I actually met a zookeeper once. I took a horseback riding class last semester, just through a community course thing. And one of the women I was taking the class with was a zookeeper. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. And she's like, yeah, but it's like 98% manual labor and 2% cool animal stuff. And I was like, that's a very good point. What number am I at? Number 6, bakery owner. I was in a really long meeting once that was really technical and not related to my work. And so I spent quite some time plotting how I would open the bakery and what we would serve and how would we maximize profits and how would we, minimize expenses and like all some really boring technical stuff. So, yes, that brings us to number 7, my personal favorite. Small town traveling historian. I know it sounds like I just made that up, but I swear it's actually kind of a real job. Not that anyone would pay me to do it, but like it does exist. I don't know if you've ever seen those books. They make these like small books about different towns, like the history of this town with like photos and like stories. I know Jonesboro has one and Columbia, the city I'm in now, has one. So I mean, obviously people do this. But let me explain my perfect jobs. So I travel from town to town and just collate all of their data, like all their town records, all their meeting notes from all the churches and like all the census data and kind of build like this kind of unified story. I know as a historian you're probably like cringing outwardly at the idea of me like building a history for this town, but bear with me. I think it'd be so much fun. I'd love to focus on old cemeteries and kind of create a database for that town. So to get even more specific about this career path, so I'd create this kind of legend. So when you'd walk into the old cemetery, you'd have a board with a QR code and you'd scan it, and then that would give you access to all the information about the people who are buried there. Who they were, what they looked like, if there's photos, who their children were, what they did their children stay in the area, did they marry, did they go up north, down south, like how did they make their money, what church did they attend, like all the sorts of information that I want to know when I'm walking through an old cemetery. I find it fascinating, but the problem with just walking through an old cemetery is I'll never know who these people really were. So my plan is actually built off of an idea from a Shark Tank episode that actually failed. I was at a biophysics conference, I was talking about my backup career paths like I do, and one of my friends was like, oh yeah, I saw this on like Shark Tank, and I was like, that's perfect. Let me take this failed business venture and make it my dream job. That small town traveling historian career path that I have up in my mind is also inspired by the fact that a couple of summers ago I was helping my mom clean out the church office because she was changing it into her office because she's the accountant. And so I was pulling out all these old papers and sorting them and figuring out what you can throw away. I stumbled upon these meeting notes from congressional meetings and from elder meetings. So elders are a kind of governing body in my church structure. And I found like all their notes going back to like the 1950s and all the church directories going back to like the 1950s. And I spent like an entire day just reading it all. I found it fascinating. Like literally, I was just reading directories from year to year because like people get married and then so and so isn't listed with this person, they're listed with this person, so and so disappeared, and like there's so many stories are hidden behind kind of boring data. Just don't tell my pastor because like they're like supposed to be confidential meeting notes. I read them all. But if you're not supposed to be able to like read them if you're not an elder, and I'm definitely not. 4-4. Oh, bases are loaded. Oh no. Oh no. Come on, Cubs. Oh, there's one out. Oh, I can't watch. But that's kind of where I got the idea. I was reading through all this, kind of dry data, and I was like, this is fascinating, and there's so many stories here. Even if you can't see them, I know they're there. Is this even a conclusive story? I've lost track, and so I'm watching the Cubs play. Oh, and my last backup career, which I came up with a couple days ago, bluegrass singer. What number are we at? 11? I'm not gonna like actually sing bluegrass right now because the internet does not need that at all. I was singing along to the Oh Brother, Where Art Thou soundtrack, and I'm like, I'm basically a professional. I should just be a bluegrass singer. Woo! Struck him out. 2 outs. Come on, Montgomery. So there you have it. All of my various backup career options, which will probably never... Is that a spider? No, it's not. Whew! I just had a heart attack. Oh, let's take 3. So there you have it. All my various backup careers and options, which will probably never happen, but they're fun to think about, especially when research is really frustrating or physics sucks or I just don't want to be at work. I'd be interested to know, since you have started the foray into grad school, if you have spent any of your time thinking about various career options and backup plans, not necessarily like serious adult ones, just ones that you think would be a lot of fun. 2 strikes, 2 outs, top of the 11th. In case you want up-to-date information on a game that has ended by the time you saw this. Oh, somebody catch it. When I was watching my old vlogs, because I did not do that, but if I had, I would have noticed that whenever I tried to say goodbye, I'd just keep rambling for like another 10 minutes because I have a problem with like signing off. So anyway, I'm gonna just do it just like that. Okay, I can't wait to hear your reply. Bye. I don't know if I like that ending though.